It's gonna be crazy.
Hello and welcome back to Card Kingdom's Legacy 1K. Sorry, Card Kingdom's 1K Legacy Preservation Series.
That's right.
I'm your host, Josh Monks, joined in the booth with Jordan Isaka.
How's it going,
And
Josh?
we have something sweet for you guys.
Oh, yeah.
Randy Buehler is here, and Randy Buehler's playing a feature match.
He's a Hall of Fame Magic the Gathering player. Like,
Absolutely.
he's pretty insane, man.
Yeah, great player. So I just found out that he's actually very new to Legacy. He was huge in Vintage.
Oh,
a lot
yeah.
of Vintage
Yeah,
experience, but Legacy
absolutely.
wasn't really a thing while he was in his competitive heyday.
I mean, he
And so
invented the Blue Belcher deck, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So
I don't think he invented it, but he was certainly the guy who made it big. He was
Yeah,
the guy who
yeah.
kind of revolutionized it on
played
the
it a
Vintage
lot.
Super League.
Oh, certainly. Yeah, very exciting
So-
to see that.
He said, you know what, I'm going to learn Legacy. I'm going to pick up the right deck to learn Legacy. Tendrils of Agony.
Yeah.
And not only is he playing Tendrils, but John Barber, his opponent, is also playing Tendrils.
It's gonna be quite exciting, and it's gonna be one of those things where this is a match. If you're playing kind of like, I'm not saying that Tendrils is a fringe deck, but if you're playing a deck that's a little bit more towards the edge of known decks, right? You have to know how to play the mirror. You have to know what's important. You have to know what to do and when to do it, right? So
Absolutely.
it's gonna be pretty exciting. And Randy, of course, a very experienced Magic player, has been around the game for since the game started.
Yeah,
since the beginning of the game.
he's been playing this deck in Vintage, and he was playing this deck in Type 1 before it was Vintage.
Right. And I think it was called Long.
Pitch
back in
Long.
the day. Pitch Long, yeah, or like Burning Long.
It was
or,
named after Mike Long.
Yeah, the infamous player. If you guys want a story or a read, go ahead and read that.
It looks like John is going to have to mulligan to 5. That was a 6 lander. Ouch.
Yeah, wow! Out of a combo deck that plays Dark Ritual, that certainly doesn't play a lot of lands to begin with.
It's very
kind of
light on
insane.
lands in the first place, that's
and
for sure.
Randy's probably sitting pretty. He looks like he's got a Lotus Petal. He's got a Ponder. He's got an Infernal Tutor. So he's ready to go. I think he just needs a few extra cards to make his combo complete. One of the things that's really interesting, and I don't mean to talk about the sideboard already, but I mean John Barber's got 2 copies of Empty the Warrens in the board.
Yeah, do you have their deck list?
Oh yeah, they're right here. They're actually
nice,
right here.
Nice.
John Barber's
That's what I'm all
got
about.
2 copies of Empty the Warrens, Abrupt Decays, right? It's going to be kind of crazy. Randy Buehler is actually, his deck is set up a little bit more to beat the blue decks, the mid-range blue decks. So it's going to be kind of insane here, right? So we have the grips, and then off the break, John Barber, he's got the wrong land, but he's got the non-basic.
He's got the
Tropical Island. Now here's the deal though, the Tropical Island could scare Randy a little bit. I mean, this can lead to like, oh, he's gonna go ahead and figure out what's going on, and he looks at it and
He's Duress, Dark Ritual, Cabal Ritual.
Yeah, Cabal Ritual,
Randy
Dark
knows
Ritual.
it's the mirror.
He knows what's going on. He knows what's up, and pretty excited. I mean, like, hey man, if you're playing against the mirror and your opponent doesn't have, cards that allow you to find other cards like Ponder or Preordain, and he doesn't have a tutor in hand, it's going to be difficult, right? John Barber also has a land that doesn't even tap for black, and 4 of his cards in hand, well, they just so happen to be black. So, Tropical Island for Randy Buehler, Ponder coming out, right? And what's crazy about it is both of these decks, if Randy Buehler didn't Gitaxian Probe John Barber, he wouldn't know what he's playing against, right? Oh, Lion's Eye Diamond, Double Brainstorm, looking like 2 pretty powerful cards that Randy can currently draw. And on top of that, right, that Infernal Tutor, if he doesn't have to cast it to win the game, he can actually cast it to shuffle the top of his deck and get another tutor. It's pretty important, pretty insane. So it looks like we got a round timer. Pretty excited about that. Figure out where we are in the round. And Randy Buehler is thinking about this Brainstorm right here. Or thinking about this Ponder, certainly. He's counting. It's always dangerous when you're counting. And I think the reason why he's doing that right now is there's not a single card that John Barber can draw that will allow him to win the game the very next turn. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe Brainstorm.
Maybe
right?
Brainstorm does some stupid things.
Does some dumb stuff.
I mean, if he sees Brainstorm and he sees Lion's Eye Diamond, Infernal Tutor, and a Lotus Petal, I think he wins, actually.
He can do it. Oh, Randy's just going to get him.
Randy, though, he says, you know what, I got the Lotus Petal, I've got the Dark Ritual, I've got the LED.
You don't have Forcible in hand, you don't have a Spell Piercer or whatever. I'm not even going to wait for you to top deck a black source and cast Duress on me, and he's just going to go for it right here. I think he's counted it out, and he's going to know whether or not he can do it. Very nice. Storm is 5? Oh, that's right. Wow. I mean, that just kind of goes to show you how the setup spells can really play into, wow. Cabal Rid. He's just only getting +1 here,
yeah,
but...
I mean, it's still +1 mana and +1 Storm.
Right, the Storm count obviously being what's important here.
And he's going to be cracking that LED anyway, so you may as well just play the cards.
Well, I mean, yeah. I think I was just, considering, it's too bad that, Cabal Ritual, when it's at full power, it's +3
yes.
versus +1.
So there's the Infernal Tutor.
Holding priority.
There's the LED.
Crackle
What was the other card? Oh, it was a Fetch Land.
Oh, yeah, and he's going to go get it's Passive Flames time.
You think so? Oh, he's having red?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and he's got double Cabal Ritual.
And now he's going to have Threshold because there's going to be LED, Infernal Tutor, and that land in his graveyard.
That's right.
To put it over the top, both of them are going to be...
Yeah, sure. Use a black. Whatever.
Make sure you spend that mana.
Right.
Yeah, so Randy's got this game locked up. John is definitely dead. They're just double checking the mana count.
Right. I mean, like, either way, he's going to get Passive Flames, cast Passive Flames, flashback all the Cabal Writs, and then it's going to be over.
Yeah. Cast the Infernal Tutor at the end.
Yep.
So what you don't want to do here...
Flashback.
You do not want to play the cantrips.
Yeah.
Because if you play the cantrips, you have cards in hand, so
yeah,
flashback
your Infernal Tutor isn't going to work. Yeah.
Anymore.
Wow, so Randy just gave him the KO can on turn 1. And,
the business.
You know, it was one of those things where John, he had the wrong land, and he had the right. And Randy's just going through the motions here. He's just showing him that he has it.
Yeah.
And then,
there's Tendrils.
Right.
So yeah, I do have a Tendrils in my deck.
Right.
I did not forget that part.
Right.
You know, LSV top-8 in an event without having the actual combo in his deck. He was playing a deck with Burning Wish, and he's like, I wonder why I have this dumb win con on my sideboard. What's the point of having a Storm card on my sideboard? I'm never going to board it in. It was the only way to win, was Burning Wish for that card and win the game.
Okay. that would be a little awkward.
But, you know, he would just say Burning Wish, and his opponent would
Tendrils, yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's actually a famous line. You know, Mike Long actually had a famous line where he just showed. I think he was playing the original combo deck, Prosperous Bloom, and he showed his opponent 2 Prosperities with the Cadaverous Bloom and playing. He goes, "Are you dead?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "Oh no, I'm dead."
Yeah.
And the only way you can win in that deck is to have a Drain Life, and you Drain Life them with Cadaverous Bloom in play. But yet he didn't have a Drain Life in his deck. Yeah. Or I think he removed it. He removed it from the game at some point.
I think he sideboarded it out.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Something totally insane, and so like sometimes you just have to run. You just have to run the bluff. Absolutely. I have actually cast a lot of spells into Chalice of the Void before, and I go, okay, I'm going to Swords that, and they're like, oh, okay. Or sometimes they're on Johnny on the spot, and they'll catch you, and they're like, okay, it counters it, right? But sometimes you're just like, Lightning Bolt you, Swords you, a Brainstorm. Yeah, sometimes you're going to miss it, right?
The cantrips are the best one because once you start looking at a card, it's too late. You know what I mean?
Right,
like you can't rewind that.
Yeah, you just have to kind of sit there and just jam it. Right.
Absolutely. Sometimes it's your only out. You know, you don't want to try and do it, but sometimes you have to. If you're going to lose, if you don't, you may as well try.
Right. So pretty nice here. We have John Barber. I gotta believe that he's gonna go for a short storm. If he does go for it, he's gonna go ahead and try to disrupt Randy Bueller and then go for goblins, because he actually has 2 copies of Enemy of the Warrens in his sideboard. And if you storm for 5, you have a 2-turn clock right there. 1 piece of disruption just might be enough. You never really know. And Randy Bueller out of his deck, he's got a top. He can go a little bit longer. His sideboard is more set up to be good versus the blue decks.
Yes.
Right?
This is not a deck where you need that longevity. You want the explosiveness and you want some disruption. You
right.
want some hand disruption.
And
He's got a duress and a Cabal Therapy in the sideboard.
What's crazy is that John Barber, if he goes for empty, he can go ahead and start flashing back his Cabal Therapies, which is something that his deck doesn't usually do, but he can certainly do it.
You know, I think I've done that before, actually.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. It's pretty powerful, too.
Very effective.
One of the things that's interesting is that because the Tendrils decks have been migrating more towards the Tendrils of Agony kill rather than the Empty the Warrens kill, they've sort of migrated away from. I mean, the Cabal Therapy is still a really good card, but like you don't really realize if you have a flashback, right? Like, we'll see how John
Barber counters Storm too. It counts on Storm.
It really does.
Infinite value.
Value
everywhere.
Very, very powerful. Certainly, we'll see what happens though. Looks like off the break, got to believe that John Barber's going to be on the play. Man, how do you feel about those Chandra Ablaze sleeves?
I like it. It's angry. She's angry. She's yelling it out. I wish that card was a little bit better.
Yeah, me too. I think the cool thing about it is the one red card that Randy casts, Passive Flames, right?
Makes sense. Flavor-wise, totally connects. So Randy's looking at a 0-lander here, though. He does have Dark Ritual, Cabal Therapy, 2 Gix Probes, Ponder, Cabal Ritual, and Infernal Tutor.
How do you feel?
If he hits an Underground Sea, he's got 3 draws to find an Underground Sea, and he's got a turn 1 kill.
Randy says nah. You would have hit it. He would. I love how he slowed down as soon as he drew it.
He knew it was there. I mean,
put it back.
he knows when you look at these things that you can't be subjective about it. You know, you look at it and you can't use that to influence future decisions.
How do you feel about Randy riffle shuffling?
Oh man, I've seen him riffle shuffle some single-sleeved black-bordered power. He died.
I mean, like, at the same time, you're just watching it, you gotta respect the guy. I mean,
absolutely.
like,
these cards, he's never getting rid of those.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Like, he's been around the game so long, like, back when Richard Garfield was making the game, right? So, you gotta believe that he's in it for the long haul, right? So, like, when he I'm pretty sure people give him some funny looks, which is why he's shuffling the way he is now.
Oh, yeah. He does it exclusively to intimidate his opponent.
Oh, man.
The value of these means nothing. The value of you means nothing.
That is right. All right, and here's the cut.
But he's a great player.
Yeah.
Really great caster, too. I don't know if you've seen him do any commentary for the Vintage Super League, like Modern Super Leagues, Legacy Super League, Standard Super League. All the Super League. I wish there was a Legacy Super League. I know there's not, but I was hoping to
pretty
sneak that
sweet,
in
man.
there.
And then you get some old-time players like Stephen Menidian or like
Bob Maher.
Yeah, Bob Maher would be pretty awesome. Bob Maher, I mean, I'm sure Bob Maher would love to play some Dark Confidant Legacy, right? Flip over Force Wheel,
Flip over Tombstalker, man. That's the dream.
Oh, yeah. Randy scries.
Puts on the bottom. John's
Boom,
gonna start out with a ponder.
Firing off a ponder, and wow, Randy's hand is an infernal tutor away from really kicking in the front door. He's got, is that double Lion's Eye Diamond? Or Lion's Eye Diamond?
Lion's and then Petal.
Petal Dark, right? So he's pretty close. A lot of mana.
So how long until Storm boards a Null Rod for the mirror match? You've board out all your LEDs and Lotus Petals and get them with Null Rod.
The thing though is that Null Rod and Lotus Petal are like not Lotus Petal, Pithing Needle are very interesting because like they're also good versus the Storm or the top deck. Miracles.
They're good against Countertop. They're also good against the Death and Taxes deck with Aether Vial and Equipment.
Right. Granted, not so good in your Tendrils deck when you turn off your own Lion's Eye Diamond. But pretty, still like pretty insane. I mean, it's still pretty insane. Yeah. Oh yeah. Just board out your Lion's Eye Diamonds. Just take out a triple quad copy of Black Lotus.
So John's gonna fire off the perfect Brainstorm here with a fetch land in play. Finds an Infernal Tutor. He's got double Infernal Tutor. He's got a Past in Flames and he's got a Dark Petition. So he doesn't have a lot of fast mana, but he's got a lot of the enablers, the payoff cards, the cards that you get to cast when you combo.
And you know what's funny is that if I'm Randy and I know I can't win this turn, and I have the opportunity to play Duress or Cabal Theory, or Duress or Thoughtseize, I'm going to be pretty excited to play that. But unfortunately, he's going to run into double Infernal Tutor. And that's the correct answer, that the correct hand size that you want to have.
So what's going to happen is Randy's going to fire off this. Duress, right? He's got a Duress off this. Yeah. I assume he's going to fire off that Duress. Take the what is it? The Dark Petition. And then
there's a Dark Petition.
Yeah, I believe it's Dark Petition, 2 Infernal Tutors, and a Past in Flames.
Yeah.
So John's spells in hand.
I think so. Because at that point, what happens is he's going to try to use his Infernal Tutors to have them flip into the cards like other Lion's Eye Diamonds or Cabal Rituals, right? So.
Okay. And so Randy actually elects to take the Brainstorm, and he's going to fetch. So he wants to get rid of those other cards.
Right.
And then I imagine next turn he's going to play that Brainstorm into a fetch land.
Certainly.
Set up another perfect Brainstorm, the back-to-back perfect Brainstorms.
Right, with fetch lands, obviously being able to shuffle away those cards is really nice. Gotta love it. And I gotta believe that Randy's gonna go ahead and, I mean, is he gonna have a Duress here? I'm not certain.
Well, he chose to take the Brainstorm off that
he didn't take the Duress,
so
he did not take Duress.
He says, you know what, I don't really care about interacting. I'm one card away from winning the game. I'm just going to find that card and kill you.
Yeah.
And I actually like that line a lot. It's very ambitious.
Right.
He actually gets a red source here rather than a black source, which I actually like. I think it's safe to have one red source in play.
Right, and it's one of those things where it doesn't really, like, it's not like he has to play against Daze. It's not like he has to play against taxing cards that make it so you have to figure out what land you want to tap ahead of time. Right? Being choked on black is a lot less likely to happen.
Yeah, when you have a Dark Ritual in your hand, it's very hard to be choked on.
He is slamming the Brainstorm.
He says, you know what, I think it might just be on top of my library. He finds a Duress, he finds a Past in Flames, and a Lotus Petal.
And can you go? You can't go.
No.
There's no way you can go.
He's got one too many lands in his hand.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way he can go. He doesn't have a tutor effect either. That being said, the amount of tutor effects that both these players are playing actually differ somewhat. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure Barber only has one Dark Petition.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that Randy Buehler actually has 2 copies.
Okay.
Maybe Vintage influencing his choices a little bit.
Dark Petition is insane in Vintage.
Oh my god!
That card actually is just 5 mana. Cast Yogg Will from your deck.
When you take Dark Ritual, which is already really powerful, and you stable it with Demonic Tutor, and we get 4 copies of that, we're talking about some serious magic there.
And Yogg Will is the card you get when you're playing Storm. You combo, play Yogg Will, and it's basically Past in Flames, only it's black, and it lets you cast LEDs and Black Lotus and Lotus Petals.
Yeah, it's Yogg Will is certain. He is okay.
So he says, you know what, I'm afraid, John, you're going to combo off next turn. I got to Duress you this turn. I got to use this Lotus Petal to rip up your hand.
The reason why I like this line is because Randy doesn't know how dead he is if he lets his opponent untap.
Absolutely. You're I really hope I'm not dead here.
He's let his opponent play Brainstorm and Ponder over the course of the last couple turns, right? One of the things that's really that I think John Barber could have done is hold his Brainstorm in case he wants to hide other cards on top of his deck, right?
So let's say if he finds an LED, I think he just is very close to winning the game.
Very certainly. I just think that when you have Brainstorm, right, like you can just afford to wait. Yeah. You know, it's I mean, what do you get by casting it on your first main phase versus at the end of your opponent's turn after they've played cards like Duress or something like that?
I just feel like he also his hand was all of the payoff cards, which are the cards you're going to Duress anyways.
That's true. I mean, like, I guess one of the things you can do is I can go ahead and cast Brainstorm, right? I can put Infernal Tutor and a Dark Petition, or like 2 Infernal Tutors on top of my deck, right? My opponent thinks that I'm nowhere near going off. They take the wrong card. My top deck's the win condition, right?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, so it allows a second layer of deception.
Yeah, you get to play your opponent just a little bit that way. I like that a lot.
Right. And that's one of the things that I like. I mean, it's certainly a lot better when you're playing against a blue deck, right? Because then they have to figure out what card to counter, and you're like, well, actually, there's a 4th card that you haven't seen yet.
Yes,
there's
some mystery meat that now is on top of my library for the intentional purpose that you can't take it.
Exactly.
I like that
that's kind of where I am with Brainstorm against Duress and Cabal Therapy.
It's also cool because you can Brainstorm and leave the fetch and play, and then your opponent is even more messed up because maybe you are just going to shuffle them away and it's nothing.
He took your line, took the Dark Petition.
Because now if you hit a Duress or a Cabal Therapy, you just rip apart John's hand.
It's over.
And taking 1 Infernal Tutor when he's got 2 is not going to be a huge deal. It's going to stop him from, if John draws like a Dark Ritual or a Cabal Ritual, he'll be able to play 1 Infernal Tutor to get another one and then go off the following turn using the Infernal Tutor in Hellbent mode.
That's right.
But if you take 1, it's really not that huge of a deal. It only stops that line, whereas taking the Dark Petition closes off more options for John.
That is certainly true, right? Because he can actually just get any card he wants by playing the Dark Petition. That being said, also taking the Past in Flames, which is the other option, is just not. It's just not.
Your opponent gets cast anyway.
They can flash it back anyway.
John does a Gift Probe off the top, so he's going to go ahead and cycle that. He wants to know what's going on across the street too.
There's some action. Randy's not sitting idle. He's an
Infernal Tutor away from going off.
Infernal Tutor, Dark Petition. Any one of those spells are going to be absolutely live. The best part about it is even with Past in Flames in hand, Lionside Diamond can still crack, and you can pay the alternate cost, the flashback cost.
Yeah,
right?
you can flash that bad boy back from the graveyard, and then also your Infernal Tutor gets something like Dark Ritual or something like that.
Yeah, it's twice as good. Yeah, so good. All right, Lionside Diamond off the top or off the draw.
Wow, what a huge hit for John.
Not bad at all. You know what though?
Is he just gonna mini Tendrils here? He's got a Past in Flames in his graveyard, so maybe he's like, I'll mini Tendrils you here, get it so you need to maybe do 12 or 13 Storm to kill me, and then I get another chance to go off with my Past in Flames.
But I gotta believe that if he had access to Empty the Warrens, he would just Empty the... I mean,
He knows that Randy's got one payoff card away from winning the game.
That's true. I mean, at the same token, I would have just cast Infernal Tutor for one of the Lionside Diamond and then play both Lionside Diamonds so you can't get Cabal Therapy or Duress.
Okay.
Right?
And in
that sense, right, then you can just say, I'm going to wait till I untap with 2 more lands, and then I'll have the full boat of gas to go have, and I'll really be able to storm really hard.
Okay.
One of the things that I think that a lot of Storm players don't do is they don't actually commit their Lionside Diamonds to the table.
That's not Tendrils of Agony.
It's Sadistic Sacrament.
It's Sadistic Sacrament. Exile some cards from your opponent's grave library, and then you can kick it for 7 mana.
He did not.
Yeah, he did not kick it. And he's just going to take the payoff cards. You just take Tendrils of Agony and Empty the Warrens if they bring in the Empty, and then Randy literally cannot win the game. He has no way to actually kill his opponent.
What?
Search your opponent's library for 3 cards and exile them. Kicker 7.
Yeah,
if you kick
I've
it, you get
seen
another
that before.
7.
It's like triple black or something.
Black. And so he's going to get Ad Nauseam, Dark Petition, and Tendrils. And Randy has no cards that can actually kill his opponent.
Randy's got to be not too happy right
yes.
now.
Randy now...
Would he engage Salt Mode?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
You know, he
either.
said he's very new to the format. He's not played a lot of Legacy because it didn't exist while he was playing competitively. And recently he's been playing a lot of Vintage.
He does have a really nice sweater on, though. Go Hawks.
Yeah,
play
go
tomorrow.
Hawks. Yeah. But he also said he's very new to this deck. He's played this deck in, I believe, one other event is what he told me. And so he's pretty new.
Wow, yeah,
and, he's a great player. He's played with all these cards in other shells before, espally in Vintage.
That is
true.
That is 100% true. Yeah, there's no way, I mean, like, to be honest, the
Randy
Sacrament...
knows.
Yeah. You know, very heads-up play by
John,
absolutely. By the Hall of Famer, man, just knowing that like there's no point in continuing to play, and at the same token, right? Like, geez, man, that was so like Sacrament was just pretty insane. It's a card to get, and it's just like, I mean, I guess Randy has to figure out exactly how to maneuver around that, right? And I gotta believe, you know, if Randy has some sideboard cards, he's got So Randy Buehler has a sideboard, Empty the Warrens. So Randy actually has some other cards on the board that he might actually bring in. I think right now he's considering bringing in the Empty the Warrens.
Oh yeah.
Right.
When you see that, like the reason why you have extra copies of cards like that is so that you can't have this happen.
Right.
You can't get them surgical out and just lose the game on the spot.
But the nice thing is he doesn't have to storm for 10. He doesn't have to worry about storming for 10. He can just go short storm, Empty the Warrens. All right. I dump my hand. Right. Let's say I dump a Cabal Therapy or 2. I Gix Probe you on the way down. Now I can go ahead and start flashing back those Goblin tokens and then hitting your hand on the way up, right? So before I pass the turn, I want to nail your Infernal Tutors. I want to nail your Dark Petitions, right? And now it's like it's really hard for you to win the game, and you're like a relatively large amount of cards from going off.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Wow. Wow, that Sacrament was pretty
That was
nuts.
brutal. I did not
Yeah.
see that line coming, and I don't think Randy did either.
Yeah, pretty tough, especially because like it's specifically meant for the mirror.
Absolutely, that's
right?
what it's there for.
Or like some unfair deck.
And you know what? We saw on the Vintage tournament here a couple weeks ago, I was doing commentary, and we had the Storm Mirror in the top 8, and Sean Yu got someone with it.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's intense.
And we actually thought Sean was going to lose. There was no way he was going to win. And then he just Demonic Tutors for Sadistic Sacrament, plays Dark Ritual, and Sacraments his opponent.
Oh, that's so brutal. The funny thing about it, I mean, it's almost like you can almost kick it in Vintage.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
in Vintage you have like Tolarian
Yeah.
Academy, and like you've got some big mana over there, so.
Black Lotus into Yogwell gives you a lot of mana.
Yeah, in fact, I believe it gives you approximately a buttload.
A buttload.
All right,
one
Randy
buttload's
Bueller.
worth.
Yeah, one buttload's worth. All right, Randy Bueller. Now, John Barber has had some clunkers, I would say. He's had some pretty awkward hands.
He knows how to play this deck, though.
Most certainly. And the one thing that's really nice is he's been able to maneuver around in such a way that it gives him the best chance to win.
Absolutely. And knowing that Tendrils was in there and he had enough mana to cast it was a very heads-up play.
Yeah,
And in
absolutely.
this matchup, it just is back-breaking. Does Randy
Yeah.
have a Sacrament?
I don't. He's got a top. I mean, he's got some good cards versus the blue decks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Like.
Yeah, Sacrament
no-
not so great against blue decks.
That ain't no Sacrament.
Sacrament
I mean-
for 3 Force Wills is not as good as Sacrament for all 3 of the cards that actually kill your opponent.
Yeah, I think Randy's just going to try to short storm it. I think he has to go for Empty the Warrens, and he's going to have to hope it's good enough.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hope it's good enough, and then Disruption. Maybe play one Disruption spell on the way down. Ooh, starts off with the Probe. Okay.
You go down to
Always
18
a good start. Double Petal. He's got 1 land.
LED.
John's hand's pretty good.
I love John's hand. It's
I
got a
like
lot of
John's hand.
options.
Yeah, he's got a lot of ways to go. That Brainstorm, I mean, he needs to draw a land, so you can have fetch, land
Well,
fetch Brainstorm.
maybe you play Lotus Petal, crack it to play that Brainstorm, and then you get to use the fetch proactively. I don't know. I kind of like that line a lot.
Little shisty. I'm not a very well versed in Tendrils of Agony deck.
Yes, I mean sometimes you got to play the numbers, and Randy has an Ad Nauseam in his hand. He's got a Cabal Ritual. He's got
Ad
a Brainstorm.
Nauseam in hand.
I love that card. I really like that card.
It's strong, man. If he has double Dark Writ, actually he has the Cabal. He has a Cabal Therapy too. Yeah, Cabal Therapy. I mean, if he's gonna target that Brainstorm, it's gonna be a different game.
Absolutely. He's gonna play this Cabal Therapy here. He's got it.
Yeah, he's
Oh, he's gonna pass the turn. Oh no.
Okay.
Does he? No, he's got a Cabal Ritual. That's not a Cabal Therapy.
Okay, I was gonna say like, there's no way that he would miss casting that Cabal Therapy,
Yeah.
especially after playing Gitaxi.
He knew to play the Underground Sea too.
Yeah, over the fetch, certainly.
Yeah, so
And one
both these hands are pretty explosive.
You know what's crazy though is that Randy Bueller's Brainstorm, like if John Barber runs out a Cabal Therapy, Brainstorm means he can have any 7. He can have literally any 7.
Yeah, you get to hide so many cards. Sometimes you play that and you name something else. Sometimes you know what card they're going to hide, so you don't want to name the card you want. You're going to name the next card down.
Right. John Barber double ricing with Gitaxian Probes.
Yeah, free storm, man.
There we go. Finds another
So
fetch.
he's going to crack this fetch. I don't know. I would have gone Lotus Petal, crack, Brainstorm, fetch. Try and go off this
Too
turn.
many resources, man.
Is it?
I think it is.
It's just a Lotus Petal.
It's so many though. I mean, like you need every single card.
Yeah,
I
that's
think.
true.
I mean,
That's
you
true.
need a lot of cards. It's not like I can just untap and have my mocks back, right?
Yeah.
Like
that's
in
very true.
yeah.
In Vintage.
Yeah, I mean, like I can sort of see where you're getting at, especially because like, hey, every turn that you have when you're playing Storm versus another Storm deck, right? That's a lot of time.
Exactly.
You know,
There's no counter spells going on. There's no interaction being flung back and
being
forth.
on the play.
And Randy, he's got a Brainstorm in his hand. He's what, a Dark Ritual and a Lotus Petal away from casting Ad Nauseam next turn?
Yeah,
Like,
he really is.
You got to do something. You
He's
got to
like,
play
you know,
these
I
cards.
think he's like a Dark Writ away. He's like a Dark Writ Lotus Petal. You're right. No, Dark Writ. Because he just Dark Writ Cabal.
Dark Writ Cabal Ritual for 1 more mana.
Yeah,
Play
I mean-
Ad Nauseam with 0 mana floating. Yeah,
That's right, and he has Lotus Petal in play, which can actually, so, oh man, it's gonna get a little close here.
So if you're Randy, do you want to fire off this Brainstorm now so that you have 2 lands untapped next turn, even though you Brainstorm lock 1?
I think so. I think all you want to do is shuffle a 1 card. You're pretty happy with the majority of what your hand looks like right now.
I think that you got enough cards that it doesn't matter, and the game's not going to go long enough for the lock to matter.
Oh boy.
So John does have a Cabal Therapy, and he's going to Lotus Petal for the Cabal Therapy. And so if he did this in the other order, he gets a free shuffle off that Brainstorm.
Okay, I mean, I do see what you're saying here, but at the same time, he couldn't know that he was going to draw into Cabal
That's
Therapy,
true, but
right?
like you got to assume you're going to draw action, right? These Tendrils decks, the only cards in the deck are action.
I mean, but Lotus Petal, man. Lotus Petal! Like,
Yeah.
I'm fine with trading away Lotus Petal here. I'm certainly fine with trading it away here.
So Randy's going to fire off his Brainstorm in response.
I think your play was a little bit more risky, right?
The payoff was way higher.
Yeah, payoff was way higher. But I would think that John's play right now is actually like a little bit safer and a little bit more along the lines of like if I'm on the draw, I think maybe you have to play more risky when you're on the draw in this matchup,
Absolutely.
right? So maybe that's where you're coming from.
You need to gain the tempo.
Yeah,
you need to go off before your opponent can
maybe
go
that's
off.
where you're coming from there.
You
Okay.
gotta use that. Well, so you're on the draw, so you get one extra card from your opponent, right?
All right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think what's really interesting now is now they play this little mini game of Brainstorm versus
This is
Cabal
my
Therapy.
favorite Legacy
it's so good.
interaction.
It's so good.
Everyone says Brainstorm's the hardest card to play in Legacy. It requires so much interaction. Miracle's the hardest deck. Now, I think playing Cabal Therapy, when you know your opponent's hand and they just played Brainstorm, is the hardest game.
Yeah, this is a really fun game, though. And named
so,
Cabal Ritual.
John nails the Cabal
Savage,
Ritual.
that was a really nice play.
He didn't even think about that.
that was
He's like, Brainstorm's done, Cabal Ritual, get it out of your hand. I know it's there.
I know
Wow.
I know you left out. I know it's left over. I know what's on top of your deck now. And now John's gonna have perfect information here. And you know what's kind of tough though is look at Randy's hand.
He's got another Brainstorm.
If he's got another Brainstorm, he's got another fetch. He's on 3 lands in hand.
He's got an LED, and on top of that, he's got an Ad Nauseam in his library. So he's going to draw Ad Nauseam here and then LED next turn.
Or LED here.
Oh, okay,
LED
stack him the
here.
other way. Might be.
Either way, it's perfectly fine. And now we're gonna go ahead and see him. He's got to be burning that Brainstorm. I gotta believe. And you know what's actually kind of nice here is that if he burns his Brainstorm and he hits cards in like opposite order, he can actually like if he needs to go and actively and use Lion's Eye Diamond to make mana, he can put his Ad Nauseam on top of his deck, right? So the Brainstorm actually acts as twofold, right? So you see
It's another LED and another Infernal Tutor?
and that's exactly what I was saying,
Wow.
right? So now he gets to put 2 cards back. The cards he puts back are probably going to be that Ad Nauseam. It's a really powerful card.
Really, I
right?
think it's going to be land. You want to pitch that Ad Nauseam, get it in your graveyard.
Well, the Ad Nauseam he needs to find with his Infernal Tutor. So if he keeps it in hand, he can't use it with his Lion's Eye Diamonds.
You're right.
Lion's Eye Diamonds are going to be able to make mana for it.
Good point.
Right.
That's a very good point. Yeah, so this is going to let him go play Ad Nauseam and then have 1 mana floating, which is just enough to play all the Dark Rituals you float.
Oh, absolutely.
Because sometimes you
Absolutely.
play Ad Nauseam with 0 mana floating,
Right.
and you have to hit a Lotus Petal. And if you play a land, you have to hit a Lotus Petal to be able to cast any of the spells.
Right. It's kind of one of those interesting scenarios that Randy enters in right here is that in what position are my cards relevant for the cards that I currently have in hand, right? So
Absolutely.
if he does play a tutor, right, his tutor is only relevant with Lion's Eye Diamonds in play,
Absolutely.
right? And then like if he plays his Ad Nauseam can only be played if he has mana that isn't Lion's Eye Diamond.
Okay. So he's going to just reveal his hand. He's like, I got to think this through. Here's my hand. Let's see what we do. So
He's got it. I think he has it.
He sees it.
Wait, what? Fetch. He's gonna get a Past in Flames.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was thinking, and then you can Past in Flames the Ad Nauseam, but I realized that if you're
I'm
Past in Flames...
confused though, because Past in Flames doesn't allow you to flashback Lion's Eye Diamonds.
That's very true. Which is kind of what I was thinking.
That's weird though. I would have totally put the Ad Nauseam back on top, and I would have gone to get Ad Nauseam with Infernal Tutor.
Absolutely.
I mean that's fine. It's just
Yeah,
frustrated. I'm frustrated. He didn't take my line.
Yeah, I think your line was right. I thought mine was right, but now that I think it through, you're absolutely right. He wants that Ad Nauseam in his library, not his hand, because
Right.
it's going to the graveyard now.
Oh, yeah, I think he's like, oh. Well, you just thought about it.
Yeah, I think he's realizing it. Oh, darn. That's too bad.
That's okay.
It happens. He's new to the deck. This deck
Yeah,
is
that's
very
fine.
complicated.
It's a hard deck to play,
And
man.
That's a very hard interaction to see.
Figuring out where Ad Nauseam needs to be. Yeah.
Especially if you play Vintage and you're used to Yogwill, man. LED is just like the best.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it puts your hand in your bin before your Yoggle resolves, right? You can play everything again, or you can play your Lion's Eye Diamond again, right?
So, Randy's got to walk out of it. How do you think he gets through this? He's got 6 mana floating. Can you Dark Petition for Sadistic Sacrament?
Well, he has a Cabal Writ.
Okay.
So what happens is he's going to attack those 2. He's going to Infernal Tutor, or he's going to get
Passive Flames.
Passive Flames. Play Passive Flames, Storm 6. Play Dark Writ again, Storm 7. Or Cabal Writ again. I mean, like...
Cabal Writ will have Threshold, so that'll generate enough mana. Will he have enough mana to play the Ad Nauseam? Yeah, he'll play Cabal Ritual, be able to flashback Ad Nauseam.
I mean, he'll be
at 0 mana.
and he'll have no land drops.
Yeah, he'll be at 0 mana.
And he'll have no Lion's Eye Diamonds. And he'll be two Lion's Eye Diamonds down, and a Lotus Petal down.
Yeah, so this definitely suboptimal line, but I think he can still cast the Ad Nauseam.
He can still get there. It's just a little bit.
He has to flip a Lotus
It's a
Petal.
little Rube Goldberg machine. Yeah, it's a little bit of that.
A Rube Goldberg machine? Is that what you just brought up?
Yeah,
Oh, I love those.
Yeah, it's
Some
like
black boxes?
Yeah, there's like a pool cue, and then there's like some pool balls, right? And might be a banana.
What was the name of that game? Incredible Machine, is that what it was?
Mousetrap, kind of like that.
Yeah, well, it was a computer game, and you just built Rube Goldberg machines to like solve problems.
Yeah.
I think it's Incredible Machine.
My friend showed me it. It's pretty sick. You have like the water sticks, and then you attach them to like the different wheels.
Yeah. There's so many things going on. And so Randy has one Cabal Ritual in his graveyard that got Cabal Therapied earlier, and he will have Threshold when he casts it.
He can actually play his Gataxian Probe for +1 Storm.
Oh yeah, just free Storm.
And his opponent's at 15.
So can he actually kill his opponent? Because you only need 7 Storm.
He can't kill his opponent.
Oh, you need 8 Storm.
Because he needs to get. Well, he needs no. So he doesn't need. It's not the Storm count that's hurting him. If he plays Cabal Ritual and then he pays Infernal Tutor, he only has 3 black.
Okay.
Right. So it's like not a lot you can really do with that. Although, to be honest, you know what? Okay. Here's how deep it's gonna go.
Walk me through it.
Okay. So he's gonna play Infernal Tutor, so he's going to do the line, Infernal Tutor for Past in Flames, play Past in Flames, flashback Cabal Therapy, or flashback Cabal Ritual, right?
So at this point he's got 5 mana floating.
Play Infernal Tutor, flashback Infernal Tutor to get Cabal Ritual, play Cabal Ritual from hand, and then play Ad Nauseam from the bin.
Okay.
And that way, he has as much black to play with when he plays Infernal Tutor.
Absolutely, yeah, that's going to generate mana.
When he plays Ad Nauseam. So he's going to be like, I think what happens is he ends up being like +1
So the
overall.
line of spending 2 mana on Infernal Tutor and then 2 mana on Cabal Ritual costs 4 mana and generates 5 mana. So that generates the 1 leftover mana he needs to be able to play Ad Nauseam with a black mana floating.
So he can find his Dark Ritual.
Dark Ritual is unlocked at that point.
Yeah, I think that's the line. And that line is super gross.
Yeah, that's super dirty. Randy's got to be counting it out though. This is tough. This is a hard line to see.
And the thing is that once you're 1 foot in with Storm, once you're 1 foot in, you're like up to your nose. Like there's no way that Randy can stop and say I don't want to do it anymore. All right, 3 red, 3 black. Like where this is going, right? Okay.
I feel like some people in chat are saying Randy's slow playing. I don't think he's slow playing. The big thing for me about slow playing is like if you're figuring stuff out, you're not slow playing. When you're slow playing, you like intentionally stalling to end the game.
Here's the thing though, is that this is the game. When Randy passes, the game's gonna end.
Yeah, John's gonna be able to kill him. And
there's
Randy won't have any resources.
There's no way that Randy could take another turn and then play even slower than how he already is playing, because he doesn't have any decisions to make.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And like if you're sitting there like flicking 2 lands back and forth in your hand for 10 seconds, like that's slow play.
It's not like I'm topping and I'm thinking about how my top goes back. Randy is legitimately counting how to win the game.
How do
insane.
Gotta put the pieces of the puzzle together.
Yeah, I think I sort of like my line. I'm not exactly sure if it's 100% correct. I'm not a Storm Master, but that being said, I think it's about as close as you can get. Playing Ad Nauseam with an additional black is really where it's at.
Yeah, that's really what you need to get to. So he is going to get Past in Flames. Here comes a Past in Flames.
Past in Flames. Going to leave 2 black floating.
Just enough.
All right.
Storm is 6.
Storm is 6.
Here it comes.
Cabal Ray. Okay.
5 black mana floating.
5
7
black.
Storm.
That's right. Okay.
And then, so he needs to cast that Infernal Tutor to get another
Cabal Ray.
In
my opinion.
Oh, we got poker chips now.
Oh, we got the poker
Upgrade.
chips. Ooh, I like it.
Fan of poker chips.
Alrighty.
So
he's just gonna hardline.
He's just gonna go for the hard line. Okay, so he's gonna do this with no mana floating. Here it comes. Bam. Ad Nauseam. 0 mana floating.
You know what's nice though is that if he does find, okay, that's a start. Yeah. 1, 2. Count it with me. 3, 4, 5. Now the issue though is that his Infernal Tutor needs to have a Lion's Eye Diamond encumbered with it in order for it to go.
Yeah, absolutely. There's the tendrils. Oh, Randy's just about dead. And so if he had taken the line that you proposed, where you Infernal Tutor for Cabal Ritual and play that to generate 1 mana and 2 Storm, he'd win here. The game would be over. He'd be able to play that Dark Ritual and then win the game. And it flips a Dark Petition. Ouch.
Oh, ouch. That's too bad. Oh my gosh, that was an incredible game. That was pretty insane.
Yeah, that was a very tough line. Really close game.
Yeah.
The Sadistic Sacrament in game 2 for John to win that game was huge.
Yeah, and I think
Randy had the kill next turn for sure.
Yeah,
it was an easy kill too.
I don't think that Randy thought that was a card that could be in his opponent's deck, right? Very intense play.
Very close line. Randy, if he had seen the Infernal Tutor for Cabal Ritual, gone that route, he'd have 1 extra mana, would have been able to combo off at the end if he flipped the same cards off Ad Nauseam, obviously.
Right.
But that's a tough line to see real hard.
Yeah, that was.
Fun to watch. I really like watching Storm. I used to hate it. I used to think like, oh, this is so boring, and I realized how all the pieces fit together. It's like a puzzle that you construct, and it's so much fun to see that happen.
Certainly
so that's
is.
all we got for round 2. How much time is left?
We have about 14 minutes for my...
Okay, so just a couple minutes left in the round. We're going to try and find you a third match, or a backup match. We might not be able to. We might end up putting some old school Magic. I know quite a few people have their 93, 94 Magic decks.
Shazam Jin.
Yeah, they're trying to battle those. We'll try and get those on camera for you guys. Stay tuned, guys. We will be back with more Legacy action live here at twitch.tv/cardkingdom. Stay tuned.